Welcome to the Historian's Eye podcast for Jackson Spielvogel's Western Civ textbook, 10th edition. Chapter 16, Toward a New Heaven and a New Earth. The Scientific Revolution and the Emergence of Modern Science. There was an interest in nature, or God's handiwork, in the Middle Ages. But the world was seen through a theological prism, relying on a few ancient authorities, particularly Aristotle. Other ancient authors were rediscovered in the Renaissance, and its artists made use of science, mathematics, and nature in portraying the real world. New technologies also contributed, as did the discovery of the New World, which challenged prevailing doctrines of the makeup of the Earth's surface. By shattering one previously held truth, the Age of Discovery set a precedent for questioning conventional wisdom and seeking new truths in new ways. Though this took time, and the quest for scientific truths was often combined with a belief in magic and alchemy. From the scientific revolution of the 16th and 17th century came a new cosmology. Aristotle and Claudius Ptolemy had posited a geocentric universe, with a fixed Earth in the center and crystal spheres moving about in perfect circular orbits. The inner crystal spheres were the heavenly bodies, the moon, planets, and fixed stars. The outer was God's empyrean heaven, but it was difficult to reconcile the Ptolemaic system with actual astronomical observations until Nicholas Copernicus, who died in 1543, theorized a heliocentric or sun-centered universe. Johannes Kepler, who died in 1630, discovered that planetary orbits were elliptical and that a planet's speed is variable, thus destroying the idea of perfect circular orbits. Galileo, who died in 1642, using the new telescope, discovered the moon's craters, moons of Jupiter, and sunspots. The universe was not perfect and unchanging as the Aristotelian system had claimed. Galileo was condemned by the Catholic Church, which feared a cosmology where humanity was no longer the center of the universe and where God's heavens were material. In his Principia Mathematica, Isaac Newton, who died in 1727, put forth mathematical proofs to support his universal law of gravitation. The entire universe is a mechanistic entity operating through mathematical laws. There were advances in medicine. Galen, the ancient Greek physician, claimed that there were two separate blood systems and that the body was made up of four humors. Imbalances between them led to disease. Paracelsus, who died in 1541, argued that disease was caused by chemical imbalances and could be cured by chemicals. Andreas Vesalius, who died in 1564, used anatomical dissection, discovering that Galen was often incorrect. The discovery of a single system of blood that circulates through veins and arteries was made by William Harvey, who died in 1657. In spite of gender discrimination, the lack of formal education opportunities, and the assumption that females were inferior, many women made contributions to the scientific revolution, including author Margaret Cavendish, who died in 1673, astronomer Maria Winkelmann, who died in 1720, and Maria Sibylla Merian, who died in 1717, who studied insects and plants. The scientific revolution led to doubt. René Descartes, who died in 1650, questioned all that he had learned and began again. What he could not doubt was his own existence. Quote, "I think, therefore I am," end quote. He concluded that truth relies upon reason. Mind and matter differ. The mind could only achieve knowledge of the material world through reason and mathematics. Francis Bacon, who died in 1626, preferred experimentation, data collection, and analysis rather than reason and logic. His preference contributed to the scientific method, or the induction method, where a study of the particular would lead to correct generalizations. To, quote, "conquer nature in action," end quote, was Bacon's goal. Knowledge of the new science was spread through universities, royal patronage, scientific societies, and scientific journals. The The scientific revolution was more than merely intellectual theories. It appealed also to non-scientific elites because of its practical implications in economic progress and profits and in maintaining the social order, including the waging of war. If the planets were governed by laws that could be discovered, examined, tested, and understood, shouldn't that also hold true for other aspects of nature, society, politics, and economics? Traditional religious beliefs were challenged. Baruch Spinoza, who died in 1677, argued that humanity, the entire universe, was part of God, was God, in a philosophy of pantheism. Blaise Pascal, who died in 1662, claimed that Christianity was not contrary to reason. The reason and emotions were inseparable. Ultimately, his faith was in the human heart, not the rational mind. Deism, a new religious tradition, developed as an attempt to reconcile faith in God and the discoveries of science.